Our next guest is a world-renowned jazz musician, band leader, composer, and vocalist, and he's heir to the musical dynasty of the legendary Thelonious Monk.
Here to discuss how he's proudly continuing his father's legacy and building his own is Thelonious Monk III. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Great to have you here again.
Pleasure to be here, absolutely.
Now, of course, you are inspiring a whole new generation of jazz fans with your music. Talk to us about the difference between your music and your father's music and how you're inspiring this new generation.
There's not a great deal of difference between my music and his music, nor is there a great deal of difference, in my opinion, it's personal, between jazz of my father's era and jazz of today, but for some technological changes. Because jazz is really a philosophy. See, it's not really a musical technique. You know, and the philosophy says to push the envelope. The philosophy says to gather information from all around you, from all of your circumstances, from your geography, from your friends, from your life story, all of those things, and then try to interpret those things through the music. Now, with the advent of the electric guitar, with the electric piano, digitalizing everything, yes, that's changed the industry to a certain degree, but it's been the same for all the other musical genres too. But philosophically, my music and my father's music are not very, very different, other than I would have to say that he pushed the envelope a little harder than I'm pushing the envelope.
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about how you're pushing the envelope. You're marrying this philosophy to two new recordings. I think I'm hearing a live recording. I'm hearing also a contemporary version of your father's Twinkle Twinkle.
Yeah, I'm doing two things right now. Right now, I'm about to go into the studio to complete a recording of one of my father's most difficult compositions called Twinkle Tinkle. And for those, so that I don't sound too technical, we're doing a funk version of it. But this is an extraordinary piece of music, and I will be delighted to see the response of the jazz audience. I'm pretty sure funk people will dig it, but I'm not sure the jazz audience. And I also completed the first half of a live recording, my first live recording, up at Jenny's in Harlem, which is downstairs in the Red Rooster. And that CD is going to be called Ebony Moonbeams, which is a composition written by a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine, a pianist by the name of Onaje Allen Gums. And I hope to complete that at the end of March, beginning of April. And in the meantime, I'm doing several things. This weekend, I'm up at Scullers in Boston on Friday. Hopefully, the weather will allow that to happen because they got 2 feet of snow tonight and 2 more feet between now and Friday. But hopefully, I'll get there. And then I'm at Dizzy's Coca-Cola Jazz at Lincoln Center.
Yes, you are. We're excited about that here in New York.
18th and 19th, which is my first time at that particular club in New York.
It's such a beautiful room.
It's a beautiful room with a beautiful, beautiful backdrop of Central Park. And it's also special to me because for those of your listeners, your viewers who don't know, 63rd Street and West End Avenue, which is right behind Lincoln Center, is Thelonious Sphere Monk Circle, the street. That's where my father grew up. So to me, that's like a neighborhood gig.
Coming home.
Yeah, anytime I do anything with Lincoln Center or jazz at Lincoln Center, it's like coming home. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's
and
amazing.
Then I'm out on the West Coast
You're
later
all over
in March.
the place.
Yeah. Well, there's a company called North Coast Brewing that we've put together a product called Brother Thelonious Ale. It happens to be very, very popular in all the jazz clubs nowadays.
It's actual ale?
It's an actual Belgian ale.
We've got to do a demo the next time. You're going to have to bring us some Thelonious ale the next time.
And I might add, it's an award-winning.
And it goes well with the jazz.
And it goes well with the jazz. And so I'm doing some things with them out on the West Coast, up in Palo Alto and down in L.A. And
well, you've got some great legacy pieces going on as it relates to your father. I'm hearing something about a Thelonious Monk Day?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Well, you know, there are a lot of monks. We all started on the same plantation in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. But then, just as the African diaspora is, we went all different kinds of places, and some migrated to New York, others migrated to California, others migrated to the D.C. area, and others migrated to Connecticut. And there are about 300 or 400 monks in Connecticut. And I'm not only talking black monks, I'm talking the white monks who live in Connecticut too. And we've gotten to know each other a little bit. It's a very, very interesting dynamic there. But at Yale University,
are they all as talented as you and your dad?
Well, I'm not sure, but
there are a lot of musicians in that group of monks.
You know, I would tell you that the monk singers in New Haven, Connecticut, have a legacy of 2 or 3 decades of top-of-the-line gospel singing.
Awesome.
Oh, wow. We need to check them
there's a
out.
family, and there's actually a street named after the family in New Haven.
So their own right.
Their own right. And I'll also mention to you, by the way, that Art Monk, Hall of Fame,
yes.
NFL.
Absolutely.
He is also part of the Monk family.
He's part of the family
yes,
as well.
Yes, he's part of the family too. So
I want to be in the Monk family. This is a very multi-talented family. But tell us about the day.
Yes, so it's Monk Day, and it's going to be April 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Great.
And there'll be concerts, and there'll be all kinds of events with Yale University. This is something that we've been doing for about 5 years, but this time we're doing it over 3 days. Generally, it's been over 1 day.
Yeah.
And so barbecues, all kinds of stuff are going to be happening, and New Haven kind of turns itself into Monkville.
That's amazing.
Do you mind going back, taking us back, what, 15 years old? Did you start drumming?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
and
were very
just
young.
kind of take us back to what those experiences were. I think a few years later you started touring with your dad.
Yeah.
Those must have been some heady times, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Strange times. And the reason I say strange times, because Thelonious didn't require myself or my sister to be involved in the music. He reveled. He enjoyed the presence of his family with him all the time.
So he wasn't trying to force you to follow
So he didn't force me
in his
to. No,
footsteps.
it's beyond that.
Yeah.
He didn't say a word to me about music at all. But I hung out with him, with Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Dizzy Gillespie,
Yes, he did.
Charlie Parker, Sonny Rollins.
They were all there.
They were all there in the house all the time. And I was little Toot, running around. That was my nickname. And I was running around just doing my thing.
Did it mean anything?
No.
Well, looking back, what does it mean to you?
Looking back, it was one of the most fantastic childhoods anyone could ever have had.
Yes.
In fact, I'm beginning to work on a book project.
Awesome.
I'm going to
about your
call
relationship
I'm going to
with
call
your
it
father.
Growing Up Thelonious,
Yeah.
because it has been, you have to understand that from the time my eyes were really open, people were telling me, do you know who your father is?
Yes.
And I'm saying to
And
myself,
you're like, oh, that's just Dad.
he's daddy. He's daddy. And I didn't know until I was 19.
Is that, you have a title? That's a book title. FYI. Do you know who your father
Thought
is?
of it already. What
But-
kind of personal moments are we going to see in this book that occurred between you and your dad?
You know, my father was a real Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
You know, he went through long periods in his career where he didn't work. They had taken his cabaret card. Sometimes he was considered a little recalcitrant, and people didn't want to hire him for various reasons. And so as a consequence of that, there was a lot of times when my mother was out working 2 jobs, and my father was home composing some of the greatest compositions of the 20th century.
Yes.
And being Mr. Mom.
Wow.
And I distinctly
People don't
remember
know
my
that.
father running around in wife beaters, and it's hot, and he's sweating, and we didn't have Pampers in those days, so changing diapers was quite an ordeal.
Yes.
Exactly. I can remember my father doing that kind of thing. I can remember him waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and just going to the piano, because the room we lived in was so small that the piano was really the bench at the end of the bed.
Yes.
You know, the bed itself was the piano bench, and my father would wake up at 2 and 3 in the morning and just start writing a composition. You know, some days he would go on for days at a time working on a composition. I really didn't understand what he was doing, because the attention that he was paying to detail in a technical sense was something that I wasn't even qualified to absorb. I just know he's been playing that song for 7 days.
Right.
Golly, doesn't he know it yet?
Right.
Do you feel, because of his accomplishments, does that make you push yourself even harder? And do you feel you have to reach a certain level of success to match what your father did? Or?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because he took all that pressure off of me.
Yeah.
He told me when I was 8 years old, hey, man, look, there are people that are going to tell you that you need to be this way and you need to be that way because of me. Don't go for it. Do your own thing. So I got into the music business, not as a jazz artist, but as an R&B artist.
Wow.
You know? And everybody around me who were Monk fans, my father's fans, said, how could he do that? How could he besmirch the good name of Thelonious Monk? Now, my father, you know what he said?
What?
You're doing your own thing, man. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I love it. I love love it. I love it. You know, so I've never had that kind of pressure. Now, one has to understand, and viewers have to understand, that jazz is a virtuoso art form.
Absolutely.
And so, therefore, if you can sustain a career in jazz, you got a little something going on. Yeah. So I know I got a little something going on.
You got more than
but I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what it is. That's for historians and fans to say.
You have it going on. Can you just give us a quick rundown of the things that we need to know that are coming up? You know,
the things that you need to know that are coming up are clearly this weekend, this Friday at Scullers in Boston, the 18th and 19th at Dizzy's Coca-Cola, Jazz at Lincoln Center, out in California on the, I believe it's on the 6th of March. I'm up in Palo Alto, and then I'm back in the studio.
Yes.
And then I think I'll probably be off to Europe. I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to be off.
Well, you know you're a friend of Arise Entertainment 360 now. This is your second visit. We got to get you back with some ale and some live music.
We do. I can't wait to taste that ale. And in
don't say that to me. Don't say that to me, because I'll come in with the whole band.
Yeah. 2017, there's going to be a global celebration of your dad as well.
Yes, 2017 is Thelonious Centennial. He will be 100 years old.
Awesome.
You know, and also 2017 is the 30th anniversary of the Thelonious Monk Institute of Jazz, of which I am the chairman of the board of trustees.
Could you talk about the mission real quick?
The mission of the Thelonious Monk Institute of Jazz is to bring jazz to young musicians internationally, to bring them together with the masters of the music. The chairman of the board is Herbie Hancock.
Yes.
Jimmy Heath is on the board. Ron Carter's on the board.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Thelonious Monk III, and you are watching Arise Entertainment 360. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Music is a medium by which people communicate emotions, problems, happiness, sadness, and it's very universal, no matter what language it's in. I'm DJ Kiss, and you're watching Arise TV.